Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2020 thriller film 86 Melrose Avenue. A film that is directed and written by Lily Matter and it stars Dade Elza, Anastasia Antonia, Gregory Zarian, Jim O'Hare, Terry Evans, Langston Fishburne, Michael Polak, Andy Evans and Richard Sabine. Quite an extensive cast in this one, and it focuses on an ex-soldier, Travis, played by Dade Elza, who is suffering with PTSD. He goes home after a long day's hard work, and he essentially is faced with a visitor in his home that is kind of uninvited, asks some uncomfortable questions, and he loses it basically, and he ends up with the law after him, and he stumbles downtown and basically makes his way to 86 Melrose Avenue, which is an art gallery. It's having its opening night. There are a few customers in this art gallery, as well as art critics and things like that, and he essentially bursts into the art gallery, takes hostages, and the rest of the film is then a negotiation basically with Travis in trying to get these hostages out alive. Right, what are my thoughts on 86 Melrose Avenue? This film actually is really quite well made, and is elevated even more with an excellent cast. I mean, there's some very, very strong performances here by the majority of the cast members, and like I say, it's got quite an extensive cast. You've got Dade Elza, who plays this soldier Travis, ex-soldier suffering with PTSD, who I think gives a really strong performance here. A guy really struggling. Initially he struggled to understand why he snapped so easily, but it does kind of fall into place as the time goes on in the film, when you understand his state of mind and what he's been going through, etc, etc. And he was basically a powder keg ready to go at any point. And it's a tragic character actually that he plays, and I do think he gives a very strong performance, so I do applaud him for that. But the film is also littered with other strong performances, primarily from the customers in this art gallery. Now, what this film does differently, it's very conscious about character development here, and it wants you to understand what these characters are going through, and that they've all got a past and they've all got a history. So what it does, which I thought was quite unusual, it's not often you see it, is pretty much every person in that art gallery, including Travis, the ex-soldier, you get flashbacks as to who these people are, what's happened in their life, what's kind of brought them to who they are today, and what they're doing in the gallery sort of thing. Some of them have got very tragic lives. Some of them are, they suffer with panic attacks and things like that, and it gives you little snippets of their lives to help you understand them a bit more. And that has positives and negatives, in a sense of the positives here are clear. You get to learn a little bit more about each of these characters. However, the negatives are that you might learn things about characters that aren't particularly overly relevant. And what I mean by that is, there's a character that, like I say, is suffering from panic attacks and things like that, and she explains that really well in the film, because she's writing things down on this pad to try and control her panic attacks and things like that. And Travis, the soldier, is asking her, "What are you doing that for?" With the gun pointed at her, and she explains why she does it. "I suffer with panic attacks, and this helps me calm down if I write." Okay. We didn't need more than that, really, because her performance was strong enough for me to believe she suffered with panic attacks, and I understood why she was doing that. And then you get like flashback scene with her talking to her shrink about panic attacks and how she's coping, things like that. There was 2 or 3 of these flashback scenes that I didn't think we needed. There were some of them that were more relevant, I felt. There's a couple of central characters in this gallery from the Middle East, from neighbouring parts of the Middle East, and that's essentially part of the big message here in this film. It's about, you know, getting on, and, you know, the fact that we're all humans, etc., etc., and, you know, the craziness of war. And I mean, ultimately, the message is there. It's quite subtle initially. It just feels like a hostage film initially, but as the film goes on, it kind of continues to push this message until it's, you know, you'd have to be blind not to see the message. It's almost like, you know, it's been slapped across your face by the end of the film, this message that they're trying to give you. Depending on what kind of viewer you are, you might be okay with that, or you might think it's really a ham-fisted effort to do it. That's really down to you as the viewer. I was somewhere in the middle. I got the message fairly early, but by the end it felt a little bit forced to me. And the ending was a little bit odd too for me as well. I mean, there's a conclusion in the gallery, and then we are faced with a series of interviews at the end of the film by the police that didn't feel grounded to me. You know, these guys have just been through hell in that gallery to some degree. You know, a really, you know, terrifying event. They've been held hostage, and then the police are questioning some of them in such a way that you're thinking, well, they didn't take anyone hostage. They're the victim, and the police. It felt like they were going way over the top with some of them. And then again, by the end, it felt a little bit forced with the message, the whole, you know, Middle East neighbour stuff, and you know, war is bad sort of thing. But in some ways, it's quite a tragic film. In other ways, it's quite an important film with the message it's trying to give. And it kind of is hit and miss in both areas, if you like. But it is a very watchable film, and I really did enjoy a lot of the performances. I thought they delivered a very, very watchable film. So you could do far worse. If you're a fan of thriller movies, I think you could certainly do far worse than this one. I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10. Very well made, very watchable, great performances, and it's trying to say something as well, which, you know, I always appreciate it when films try and do that, when they do try and, you know, say something in some ways. This one does it in a little bit of a ham-fisted way at times, but it does make an effort. So I did certainly enjoy my time with this one. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you like this review. I will of course be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.